Hello, Steve Lentz here with OptionView. We want to address this issue of the T+0 line being different than the black dot in the graphic analysis screen. Okay? So when you analyze a position, sometimes you will see a bit of a separation here, and you might say to yourself, what the heck is going on? Well, and I want to just address the reasons why you'll see a separation and things you can do to try and sync those up a little bit. It's very important that we understand that whenever you go to the graphic analysis screen, the lines you see here are reflective of theoretical prices projected into the future. Even the T+0 line is being projected to today and in the future should the underlying asset move to a different price than where it is right now. All right, these are all based on theoretical prices, as are all the other lines, including the expiration line. Okay, at expiration, it's very easy to determine the theoretical price. It's just simply either zero or the intrinsic value. So this expiration line is very simple. Now, it's when you start getting into these other lines that things get a little dicey a little bit in terms of modeling future prices of the options. Future theoretical prices. A lot goes into it. So let's explore this a bit. Let's go back to this position. This was a kind of a condor. This is a condor strategy put on the previous day, and I'm bringing in prices as of this morning. And so we see we have the existing position. All right. And down here, the gain-loss is listed at -$6. That's why the black dot is pretty much right there. Let's analyze this, and you'll see again the black dot is right there. Yet, theoretically, if the options were executed at their theoretical prices, we would, be down 10% or so. So what's going on? If we go in here, I created a format here under number 2. So we have our condor. Let's just look on the left, and I'll show you what we're looking at. We're looking at market price. MIV is the implied volatility of the midpoint between bid and ask, or pretty much the market price. We're showing you the existing positions. Then we have two little columns here that this is the very important part. Theoretical price is on the right, and then the projected volatility. And so to understand this separation, I want you to understand projected volatility and theoretical price. All right? So, projected volatility is the volatility input into the Black-Scholes type model, the Yates model, by default, that then kicks out the theoretical price. So this is the volatility input that generates that theoretical price. MIV is the implied volatility of the time premium of the price of this option. So basically, what MIV is to market price, projected volatility is to theoretical price. Now here we have a bit of a separation. What is going on there? How can we have a situation where today's MIV for this option is at 14.7 and over here it's at 17? Why? All right, well, first, note that we are running on a variable model. Bottom right corner of the matrix, we are using a variable model based upon today's skew. So look at the volatility skew here today. We have the in-the-money calls have a much higher implied volatility than the out-of-the-monies. Down in the puts, similar situation. The in-the-money puts are much lower than the out-of-the-money put implied volatilities. So how can we get these projected volatilities a little bit closer to where the current values are? Well, it's important to know OptionView looks at this skew and extrapolates the theoretical skew over in projected volatility. Okay? It extracts the skew from here. Now, one thing you can do, go to the Model button, and down here in the bottom left, it says Use Combined Call and Put Skews. We're going to uncheck that. And the reason is because there's enough implied volatility numbers here calculated such that this skew can theoretically stand on its own, separate from the put skew. We don't need to combine these because, in stocks that are priced very low with only a few calculated MIVs, you then need to combine them to get a smooth theoretical projected volatility skew. And so what we're going to do is uncheck that, click OK, and now instead of a 17, we're down to a 15.1. So if you're dealing with a matrix with a lot of calculated MIVs, make sure that that is unchecked. And watch this. If you always are dealing with big matrices with lots of implied volatilities calculated, go to View, Default Models, and make this your default setting globally, that you're not going to combine those skews. That way, every matrix you pull up will have the projected volatility coming from the theoretical, or the theoretical projected volatility levels will come from the call skew or the put skew, independent of where the puts or the calls are. It'll stand on its own. Now watch this. This projected volatility skew, okay, is a smoothed curve of these MIVs that are kind of bumpy. So let me show you that bumpiness here. I'm going to come over here. Oh, excuse me. We're going to go to this one. Let me just show you. This is showing us where the at the money, the little plus signs, are where the MIVs are right here. All these levels are kind of popping up in terms of where these plus signs are. And what Option View does, it will then take this solid line. That solid line is an extrapolated theoretical skew, and this is where the theoretical projected volatilities are coming from, is this dark line here. So it takes the bumpy plus signs, extrapolates a smooth curve, and then that's what you see right here. Okay? This is the theoretical volatility that results in theoretical prices. Now that we've taken away that combined skew, let's go to Analyze. You'll see that it's up just a little bit better. See that? Okay, it's better. It's not as, it's not exactly where the black dot is, but you can go through and you can see some differences. So if we have to buy this one back at a higher vol than what the MIV is actually, well, therein lies a situation where, that could account for some of the reason that we're underwater theoretically here. All right, what else we got? Well, same thing here. We would have to buy this back for a theoretical value a little bit higher than where it's actually at. So therein lies the separation that we see. And and just so that you understand, that's where it's coming from, is from the smoothed skew. Now, if that still bothers you, okay, that the smooth skew is resulting in a separation there, okay, there is something you can do if you want that picture to be perfect. And that is, you would come over to the bottom right corner, click on Variable, and select EIOIO. That means each individual option is on its own. Now, that means that we're going to assume that in the future, this volatility will always stay at 19% for this option. This option's volatility will always stay at that number. And there will always, so that you really will not have a separation there. Each individual option on its own. So that the actual MIV skew is the same as the projected theoretical skew. Now what do you think is going to happen? We're going to click Analyze, and guess what? Ta-da! Right on top of each other. Now that creates a wonderful little picture. Okay? It may not necessarily be as accurate, but it's a heck of a lot easier to program, and then usually our competitors will have this as their default programming because it's just a lot easier this way. You don't have the issue of it being separated theoretically, and the pictures always look nice. But they're not as accurate in our opinion. Okay? So that's what's going on here. Again, separate out the call and put skews. Just be aware of the projected. By the way, you may want to wonder, what is the uniform here? Watch this. If I click Uniform, it's going to assign the same projected volatility number for all options. Watch this. Click. There it is. 17% is assumed as the theoretical vol input for all options. Okay? Again, much easier to program. Again, much less accurate. I mean, look at the differences here in theoretical prices. And of course, when you go to analyze, you'll have a real big separation in that case. It's just not an appropriate model for an index like this. You want to always keep it on variable, but hopefully now you have a little bit better of an understanding as to what's going on when you click Analyze and you see where your T+0 line is in relation to your black dot. Okay? Thank you very much. And